Hi, everybody. This is Denny with my YouTube channel, Why Is This True? And joining me today from the UK is Gav. And
Ireland.
get Ireland. He's from Ireland now,
Yeah,
not the UK. Oh, that's a big mistake. Typical of an American to make a mistake like that. So you're in Dublin, right, Gav?
that's right. Yeah.
All right. Well, thanks for joining me. And I'm just going to read a real quick, brief introduction that comes off of Gav's website. And I'll mention the name of his website right now. It is spontaneousevolution.com. So we invite everybody to go look at his website. So Gavin's a light worker. He's a healer, an intuit, and a queen maker. Laura from the U.S., who's used Gavin's services, says, to have met someone from my own tribe, that's how it feels, who honors me with his presence and helps me expand not only my consciousness, but my self-worth as a woman has been a rare gift. So he has a healing page on his website. He has a free 4-week meditation course. He does remote services. And I think going to his website is a very educational experience. And Gavin and I met each other via YouTube. He had seen some of my interviews, so that's what contributed to the decision for us to do this. So thanks so much for joining me. I really appreciate it.
Thanks, Denny. Thanks
All
for
right,
having me.
all right. So I'll just let you start. You might want to say a little bit more about yourself that I didn't include there, and then we can just take off and have a conversation.
God. Uh, I'm not used to being interviewed, and in the last few weeks, I've kind of stepped back from the website, and from writing, and from the videos I've been making to, I think, to kind of look at myself more. So it's interesting that after stepping back and looking at myself more, I'm now I'm now actually, because we spoke, I don't know how many months ago initially, I almost did an interview and I wasn't ready, and so I think part of the reason I made contact was an article I wrote about maybe 2 months, 6 weeks ago, called "There's No Spoon."
Right.
It's it's a terrible title, but the 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 premise of it is really what I've been exploring for the last good few weeks. That, we've all heard before that we create our reality, and that everything is a mirror or reflection of ourselves. And I just dived into that. But I suppose before I go any further, I liken myself to a bit of a scientist or an explorer. So nothing I say is set in stone. This is not exactly how it is. I would encourage anyone to experiment, get your experience, test, and see what happens. So if it works, adjust it and see what might work and work better for you. So I don't like to think, I really think that this is about, we're in a period, it's about self-empowerment, self-responsibility. You know, I kind of grew up in the 80s, and I discovered spirituality and Buddhism and Hinduism and meditation, and late 80s, 90s, it was about find self-help book or a spirituality book, and all the answers were in the book. And now I think we're part of my message and my own experiences about each person finding within themselves what works for them, not what the guru says or the book says or the film or whatever. So
Okay.
that's a beginning.
That's a great beginning. Yeah, no, I think that's a very important message because I know for myself, I'm a lover of books. I love to read and stuff, but there's a trap in that is because it can pull you away from finding better answers inside of yourself.
Hmm. I think I go through periods where I can't stop reading, and then I go through periods where I can't read. I can't finish a book, or I can't pick up a book, and I'm finding books I want to read, but I just can't get into them. And I don't watch any television now, and I would watch not much YouTube or not many channels or not read not many articles. Over the past year and a half, I've just scaled down that a lot of it really is about my own contemplation, my own journey, and I've found that what I need to know is presented to me. It might just be one article or one book or one video or a snippet. So it's not a case of, some people might say, well, if you don't read and you're not watching the videos, you're not going to pick anything up. They find me.
Right.
The little bits I need find me. And I have a video coming out, and when I get it finished, I watched an interview, Joe Rogan interviewed Guy Ritchie, of all people.
Guy Ritchie?
A few weeks ago. Yeah, who directed Lock, Stock and Two Smoking Barrels and a few gangster films.
Okay.
Not a spiritual man, as far as I can tell.
Yeah.
But I've watched this interview, I've watched 15 minutes of it about 60 times, I'd say, in the last few weeks. And it's layered with information. So out of 15-minute interview, I could talk for hours. So I'm doing a video on that. So it's just an example of, I just need that little thing. I don't watch Joe Rogan, and I have no interest in Guy Ritchie. But that video ended up opened. And I've watched it more than I've watched anything else in my life. So they find us, or when we need to know something, it gets to us.
Yeah, that's fascinating. So now tell us more about your Queenmaker work.
I want to talk about the reflection work, so we'll come back to that, and I'll touch on the Queenmaker.
Okay.
I don't talk much about the Queenmaker work.
Okay.
Because I feel it's all really about resonance. So I suppose for anyone who's watching this now and who's thinking, oh, I wonder what this guy does or what he's written or who he is or any of that kind of stuff. Well, what I would say was see what you feel, what your gut tells you. So to tie into the Queenmaker stuff, it was in ceremony in October of last year that I was initiated under our mother goddess as a Queenmaker. And some people might be familiar with the term Kingmaker. It's an old, I think, English term of people who would help make someone a king. People behind the scenes who do what they do. Google it, find out more. So I'd never heard the term Queenmaker. And basically, in probably for the 2 years prior to that, there were women entering my life that I knew. They were familiar to me, and I just knew them. I knew things about them, and I didn't know why they were. I was in a long-term relationship which has now ended, so I kind of maybe they're supposed to be my next partner, or I had no idea. So I went into the ceremony. I didn't know any of this was going to happen, and long story short, I was taken through the journey of being a woman, of womankind, and I experienced the pain and burden of being a woman, but also the damage that men have done to women over time. And even the next morning, we shared our experiences, and I was very hesitant about talking about this because there were women in the room, and I thought they're going to just think this guy is insane. And people got it. We had another ceremony that night. The whole thing was fleshed out. I understood more. And then I was told by the two facilitators, who were two women who'd done a lot of work for close to 20 years, I think, that they had heard this from women before about a Queenmaker. And some of the things I'll tell you about, it wasn't unusual to them, but it was unusual to hear from a man. So my understanding is that there are women on the planet who are called queens, and obviously that's not the way we term queen. They're hybrids. They're primed to to work here. What their work is none of my business, and I don't know. But they don't need to learn anything as such. They just need to be cleared. So as Dolores Cannon talks about generators, that's part of my feeling, is that some of us have huge hearts and we have a vibration, we have a light. I was told I'm a lighthouse, that my role is to shine my light so others can steer themselves away from the rocks. And I want to say that again. It's not that I steer people away from the rocks or I tell them what to do. I just speak my truth and my experience, and hopefully people can find a way. So my work with them is to help release trauma or whatever is blocking them. The last however many months that is, 8 or 9 months since then, has been exploring that. Laura, who you read out at the start, is one of the women I've worked with. And this work has brought me into the reflection work, and there is no spoon article. So I thought that it was their trauma that I was releasing. I now understand it, and more will be revealed, that it is our trauma. So anything I experience or see, or anything I feel, is a reflection of me. And there's an article on my site of my first ayahuasca journey, which was 6 hours of demonic, satanic demons. I mean, start to finish, purging non-stop. I could barely walk at the end of it. And during that, I just, purging, I was like, get out, these things out of me. And so I've read about the reptilians and the archons. I've studied all that information, and now I've come full circle that I contracted with these things. And in my opinion, we all do. These beings are teachers. They're not enemies. They're not parasites. They're not dark, even, in my opinion. So my understanding is that they have taught me to be violent and aggressive, and all the things that I won't tell you about that you can imagine from previous lives. So that's it, unless you want to throw in a question.
No, I mean, I bring that up because it is kind of a volatile subject. I mean, as you and I know, I was working with somebody who was kind of helping me navigate on the channel, and I think she was a little triggered by the whole idea of some guy with a beard talking about himself being a queen maker, and it's so outside of our cultural programming, and even for people who have done a lot of study and are educated, it's still a sticky wicket. It's not something that's just going to be talked about in general terms with the expectation that everybody's just going to jump on board and think it's a great idea.
Oh yeah, I've it's interesting. At the start, you read the services page of Lightword, all these things. I arrived at these things through my ceremonies. I've meditated for 23 years. I've read all sorts of spirituality books, Buddhism, Hinduism, all that stuff. But I don't mix with the spiritual world. I'm unsure of it, because there is a lot of egos, and there's a lot of questionable stuff that doesn't attract me. But that's not to say it's bad or wrong or any of that. So my services pages all have to be redone, and they will be redone in time, because I want to step back from the terminology I possibly will continue to use, but really it's just about the work. It's about, if someone reads an article or listens to a video or watches this video and feels in their core, I wonder what that guy could do to me. I wonder if there's work there. I wonder if there's growth. Follow that. So I wouldn't encourage anyone to. I don't want to work with people who think I will cure them, save them, or even a friend had a good experience. It's really, it's you need to know in your gut that there's something in this. Otherwise, you're wasting your money and you're wasting your time and my time. So it's
So
and that would lead on.
So what would
I mean,
happen if somebody wanted to do like a session? Let's say a woman wanted to do a session with you, and you would charge her for some amount of time that you would spend with her, and then she goes, oh, wait a minute, this is not what I thought. Then how does that play out? How does that work with you?
Take your money back.
Oh, okay, all right.
Take your money back.
Has that happened?
It hasn't happened yet.
Okay.
Touch wood. Well, I'm sure it will.
Yeah. No, but it's good testimony to like how connections are made, you know? Like you said, someone's going to feel it in their gut. Oh, this is for me. They follow through and it turns out their gut was correct.
Well,
I mean, that's been the general experience so far.
That's been my experience so far of the people I've worked with.
Yeah.
Like before I would work with someone, we'd have a phone call and I'd say, work. Why do you want it? Where are you in your life? What's your issue? And I would explain how I work. I would encourage them to read whatever page it is that if they're looking for healing or looking for clean work. And I would explain like that it's work. I don't buy into, I will have a pleasant journey experience and afterwards you'll skip up into the sunset and your life will be fantastic. That's not my experience. My experience is ayahuasca. My experience is dealing with demons, a lot of shadow work, a lot of darkness, a lot of struggle, and going into the darkness and seeing what that is, shining light on it. So I don't do rosy light guided meditations. There can be turbulence, and I'm there to support the person if that happens. Mm-hmm. So there's a bit of awareness and foundation, and then they may still go ahead, or they may think, well, I'm not ready for that. I haven't had anyone who said they're not ready for that, but I think by the time they get to the phone call, they feel moved, or they don't feel moved, and they don't make that phone call.
Yeah. So most of the work is done over audio, like just a phone call, not a Skype interaction.
No, it's done over WhatsApp. I've done all my sessions over WhatsApp.
Oh, okay, all right. Video or video or audio?
No, and neither. Text.
Oh, just text.
I'll have a phone call. Just text. I'll have a phone call to start with. See where the person is. I'll then type them into a guided meditation into stillness. My understanding is my higher self will connect with their higher self. There'll be about 15 minutes of work done. I'll then check in with them, see are they okay, where they are, if they feel okay, and then we'll go in again for a second layer and then finish up, maybe with a phone call, maybe with text, and then I would be in touch for about 3 days after that, and on the third day there would be another 15-minute session, and then we go from there. If they want to continue or where they are.
Okay. So, and then when you talk about ceremony, describe that. What is that?
I would attend, or would have attended, I think around 10 or 11 ayahuasca and medicine ceremonies with a shaman who would be practicing for about 20 years. So I would have the utmost respect for the shaman and for the group that I've attended, and for the work that's come out of it. So it wouldn't be something that's done, casually on a Saturday night, or a group of friends have come over. That's not me. I'm 40 years of age, and I'm driven. I'm moved to be free, to know who I am, to know what I'm doing here, from hell or high water. I'm on a mission, and I've been on a mission for all my life. I started at mid-teens reading Hinduism and Buddhism and trying to find out, C.S. Lewis and what is this place? What am I doing here? So I'm now in the last maybe 3 years increasingly getting closer to and having more information of who I am and what I'm doing here. So there's no messing around, I suppose, for me. Not in this work. My understanding was in that journey that I was initiated under our Mother Goddess, and I was in a divine feminine sacred space, and I was aware that this was a sacred space. I was humbled, and I'm still humbled, and my understanding is when I work with any woman that we are in that sacred space. So I don't work with the woman, I work under our Mother Goddess, and my understanding is there are other divine feminine beings with us. And that has been confirmed to me by some of the people I've worked with, that I haven't told them, but they have told me. You're going to think I'm mad. A woman told me last week, I can't tell you. So, there was other beings with us, and I know. I said, I know. So, in a sense, Valerie is her name. She described me as like a taxi driver. So it's like I collect the human and I bring the human to the sacred space, and then we work. But this human obviously has chosen from a higher place to reconnect and to be plugged in at this time. It's not just a conscious human decision. So that's my understanding. I'm just a human who brings, and I work with them, and more information comes through me, and we see what happens.
Right.
So I hope that makes some sense to some people.
No, that makes a lot of sense. It's actually very congruent with a lot of the other stuff that I've been learning, and I've been working with this fellow named Carl Mollison. We've been doing a series of channeling work on my YouTube channel, and then he's also been working with me much more casually, and working with his guides, his connections in the light, and even Creator. And so we're getting a lot of information corroborated. That's coming from not only the work that we're doing, but elsewhere. And so it's really helping me to separate the wheat from the chaff. There's a lot of good information out there, but a lot of it's peppered with stuff that's not very productive, or it leads you down dead ends, or just areas that aren't really that meaningful in terms of what's the next step. So, so the way you're describing what you do is very coherent to me, and lines up with the stuff I've been learning in terms of, especially as it relates to validity, or what's effective, or questions of, am I being misguided, or is there some kind of interloper here, or somebody who's saying something that they're not that they're willingly doing that. It's just that they don't know any better.
Yeah, that's exactly it. Yeah.
So,
but I would say I now would not believe that there is, in a sense, such a thing as being misguided. We are all choosing these experiences. So if someone takes us into a cul-de-sac or down the wrong path, we have chosen, and there is some experience of growth, even being duped, losing money, wasting time, whatever it may be, that there is a learning experience in it. So more and more I'm seeing the demons, interloper, or the person who may take advantage as actually being a gift. These people are teachers, and I have chosen from a higher space to engage with these, to be duped, or whatever it is with these. It happens to all of us. Or the person who cuts me off in traffic, or the person who does whatever it is that triggers me, that this is a gift. They are the resonance within me, or the vibration within me that is activated is within me. It's not within them. So, I'm an anarchist. I don't believe in government. I don't see the purpose of it. So that's a long story. But so I had a lot of issues against authority and against government, politics, politicians, and so on. But I realized that these people who anger me, it's my anger. It's nothing to do with them. So we now live in a world where a lot of people are projecting their stuff onto the world. They're trying to change the president or the government or the war or whatever it is. And more, through recent ceremonies and a lot of work, a lot of meditation, a lot of writing, a lot of time and self-exploration, that these are not things I arrived at on a whim or read in a book and think they sound good. It's a lot of work of realizing really that all of it is a reflection of me, and there is nothing wrong. I have a video on my website, I think it's called Everything is Perfect, and I believe that everything is perfect. It might not be nice and enjoyable, it might be painful, but it's perfect.
Yeah.
And there's a purpose for all of it. So Carl Jung has a quote, I can never remember word for word stuff, but it's along the lines of taking away our projections to change the world. It's not out there. There is no out there. It's in here. So if I have an issue with the politician and I feel angry, to heal that anger in me, not get on a plane and wave a placard or shout in the street. So it's really causing me to, and the article there is no spoon. I got a lot of emails from that. I had decided to step back. I had sent the article to a rival channel of yours called Higher Self or The Higher Self. I forgot about it, and I got up one morning and my phone went bananas, and I got a lot of emails and a lot of contacts and a few clients as well, of people who this resonated with. And then I realized, okay, because it's something I have to restrain myself and stop saying to people. They tell me this happened or the wife did this or this, that, and the other. And my reaction is, well, it's a reflection of yourself. So I have to just shut up, because when people are in it, they don't want to hear us.
Oh, yeah.
Not everyone's ready.
Yeah.
And so sometimes it's too much.
Does this concept extend to people who've lost their young children to ritual satanic abuse and child sacrifice and pedophilia?
Everything.
Can you talk more about that?
Well, first I'll say in the past, say, 10 years, we were taught and we were aware that we create our reality. It became a new thing, a trendy thing. And then it became, we co-create our reality. So we're thinking, I'm creating my health, I'm creating my life. But then there's always, the door is open a little bit that you can always, if something goes wrong, we can say, oh, I co-create my reality. There's the rest of the world and look what they're doing. It's all them. So if something goes wrong. So it was a couple of months ago that I decided, as an experiment, why not look at the world that I create everything, watertight, 100%, absolutely everything. Anything that goes wrong, anything I don't like, my health, my life, anything, I've created it. Now, not necessarily from a conscious human, but the higher self is sending lessons, hard lessons, all the time. So I'll tell you, this has come to me through maybe 14, 15 months of ceremonies, through meditation, through my own journeying, different exercise, and so on and so forth. So my understanding of who I am is, now, this could be all nonsense. I might ring you in a month and say, Denny, I'm really sorry. This is all wrong. Okay?
All right. Don't lose my number.
But this is my understanding, and this sits with me, and today it resonates with me because it's arrived at me bit by bit in pieces from our mother goddess and from so on. So my understanding is that I went through the mystery schools of early Egypt. To what degree, I don't know. And we are just consciousness experiencing itself. We're just consciousness. So there's no right or wrong or good or bad. And anyone who's had depression knows that one benefit of depression is we just appreciate the light. You know, you appreciate not having depression. You appreciate a bit of happiness, a bit of relief. So that contrast. So now I explain this like, if you're going to become a doctor and you're going to go to university, you know, in whatever it is, 5-6 years time, you're going to finish university, you're going to be a doctor, you're going to get a job, get a mortgage and so on. You live in whatever state you live in. So imagine this, imagine there's no such thing as time. And imagine we are beings that really can comprehend that, not the watch and the 24 hours and the 5-day work week. And we're aware that consciousness is exploring or about to explore the masculine energy, completely explore it. So not just the nice things, the nice men and the good stuff, all of it. So we, whoever we are, decided to leave this planet and to take a lot of our teachings and technology with us. And we knew that in 5,000 to 7,000 years, this masculine energy would be exhausted. It would be burnt out. And the divine feminine would have to be reintroduced. My understanding is that I volunteered, or I was one of, I don't know how many men who volunteered to work with the women and the men to help reintroduce this energy. So we left, or they left, and I lived the lives of same as everyone else. I died young. I was in wars. I was violent. I was aggressive. I was nice. I was lovely. I worked hard. I was a murderer. I was a rapist. I was a pedophile. I was abused, sexually abused. I did all those things. And now we're in a period, or I'm in a lifetime, that it is necessary and relevant for me to know who I am, to be aware of these memories, and to share them, to enforce that we are more than just spiritual beings and all that kind of stuff, and to go a level deeper. But the reason I experienced and did these things and had these things done to me was I contracted with these beings. I contracted with darker beings and other humans who would be on the other side, friends, best friends. I made agreements, and we made an agreement. You know, we'll go in and you'll be the bad guy, and you'll abuse me or kill me or rape me or do whatever, and I'll be the victim. And then, you know, life finishes, and then we flip over and say, okay, I'll do it too. So it gives me the full experience. And just to finish up, the point of the mirror and reflection work is that we, humanity, like to see in ourselves the things we like and the things we find socially acceptable. Gavin, he's funny, he's a nice guy, he's whatever. So if you imagine the pie chart in the circle, and these little pies are the nice things, well, I'm at a point now that as a whole being and as a God, you know, if we are gods, you have to test that boundary. You can't just, you know, if I'm a God, I have to be able to manifest. I have to be able to cure myself, heal myself. Can I heal others? Test, experiment. So to be that God or be that master means embracing and loving and honoring that whole being. The guy who's aggressive, the guy who's impatient, nasty, the previous life of a murderer, of a rapist, of a terrorist, of a whatever, all of that. And what I'm learning with the reflection is that when I feel one of those lower vibrations, you know, that I'll give you an example. I have a terrible memory. I have a memory of a goldfish. I have 10 seconds. So I have a few examples I remember, and the rest just come and go. But A couple of weeks ago, I was driving not far from here, and I come up to a red light, and there's a car on my left, and this guy is trying to get out of an estate. I'm at a red light, I can't go anywhere. So, but he beats his horn, and I just glanced at him, and I felt angry. I felt the anger. But there was nothing I could do. So I wait until the light goes green, and I drive around the corner. And as I drive around the corner, I connect, and I feel, and I can see, I can look at that pain in my core, that vibration, observe it. And in observing it, I see fear, because all anger is fear. And I connect with that, and basically that resonance, that vibration is a piece of me. It's a piece of the pie that's been sent back. I liken it to a soul retrieval. That it's a piece of me from, I don't know when, could be, it doesn't matter, that's looking for to be integrated and to be loved. And I would just touch my heart, even though I'm driving, and I would just connect with it and embrace and welcome that piece back. And in the moment I did that, I saw that guy's face. His face popped in, and I saw him just as a child, because there's a line, I'm not religious, but there's a line in the Bible, forgive them, Father, they know not what they do. And we're out there, we're shouting at people, we're beeping the horn, and we don't know, we're acting out all this stuff. And all it is pieces, pain of ourselves, just saying, I'm back. That's being sent back from the higher self that we cast out, and I'm just learning to reintegrate. And I feel I've talked for a long time, so...
No, it's good. This is perfect. I'm not shy, I'll jump in.
Okay. So yeah, to answer your question about the satanic ritual abuse, etc. As I said at the start of this, none of this is written in stone. It's not fact. Explore yourselves and find what feels right and what makes sense to you. But for me, I know that there are different layers or levels of consciousness. So from on high consciousness, we are all just consciousness. But obviously, if you're the child being abused, if you're the hungry child or the homeless, I'm homeless. I live in my car. So if you're that person, it's not that easy to kind of go, oh, it's just consciousness, get on with your life. So I appreciate that.
Yeah. Because to be honest, I'm inclined to kind of follow along with what you're saying. I mean, I've had experiences, insights that correlate very closely to what you're saying. But then, I back up and I look at these situations, like the movie just came out here in the U.S. called Missing 411. And it's about a former law enforcement guy who goes to the national parks and starts researching all these missing person cases. And finds out that the National Park Service here doesn't even have any records of this. And he's finding a very lackadaisical and uncaring response to this within officialdom and the government, the government agencies and whatnot, for these parents who've been out in the woods or whatever and lose their child. And no one's got an explanation. And they find something later that doesn't make any sense. And so he's got a collection of all of these cases all over the United States, I think in Canada too. And I'm thinking, okay, let's go sit down with these parents. I've got an idea of what happened, and it's part of what I'm investigating and exploring in some of the interviews that I do on my channel. But I always think about, okay, how would I sit down and talk to the parents and talk about higher consciousness and how we contract with evil spirits, and they're sitting there with their child that they don't have any idea of what happened to them, and like, okay, how do I reconcile that in a way that makes sense? And I'm to be honest with you, I'm in a bit of a quandary in that regard.
I don't have an answer to that.
Yeah.
I would agree with, my understanding is that there are huge child sex abuse rings in politics as well. I would certainly believe there's a huge dark force on this planet of Satanism and of dark energy. So that's the layers, you know.
Right.
But I would say, and can only speak from my experience or my understanding, is that I contracted with. I'm an alcoholic. I'm a drug addict. I'm sober. I think 16, 17 years. I tried to take my own life a number of times. You know, I've been through the wars, but how? I suppose for me, I seek power. I'm hungry for power. And a lot of people immediately think, he wants power over other people. I've no interest in power over other people. I seek power for myself. I seek to find who I am and to fully honor and inhabit who I am. But my point is that I've made huge strides in that by taking self-responsibility. Not crying victim, or not thinking the government will save me or anyone else will save me. It's about all the things that happen in my life I chose, either consciously or from a higher self. And as soon as I take responsibility, I'm immediately in a more powerful situation. I can decide how to respond, how to react to this, as opposed to just being swept around by the trauma or the thing that has happened, I think, to me. You know, that really I chose it.
Right.
And if we speak at a later date, I'll discuss what's happening now. But there's huge, you know, for some friends who might see this, well, there's huge changes in my life at the moment, which are extremely challenging, unbelievably challenging. And it's taken me a few days to settle down that there are huge lessons in this, and there are tests in this. In how do I respond? Do I respond as the victim and contact everyone and say, "Oh, this happened to me," or can I restrain myself? Can I have enough stillness to sit with it and see what's going on and take steps? Now, I do think that many of us, myself included, we have to go through the victim. So I don't say victim as being a lower or lesser. I try to see that all experience is valid. We're all on different paths. We're all having different experiences and different journeys. And a big issue with humanity is we all want to fix the other guy. So all the Republicans want a Republican government, the Democrats want, and every government in the world and every person in the world, you know, we'll all sit at the bar and we'll all sit in the cafe and we'll say, if they would just do what I think is best.
Yeah.
But really, what I think is, if we could all just shut up, you know, and kind of go, what about my life? What am I going to do to make myself better and my life better? As opposed to trying to change everyone else, because everyone else is perfect. Let them have their experience. Let them gain their experience. I'm a drug addict. I'm an alcoholic. I don't want drugs banned. I don't want alcohol banned. There was a learning experience in that. I had to get complete. I got to a point where I was complete with it. I decided I can't do this anymore. I don't want to do this anymore. I've moved on now. So by removing these choices, we're denying people growth, and that's the name of my website. Spontaneous. I think it's a hyphen dash evolution. So by expanding government and more the nanny state and, you know, free healthcare and free this, free that, free the other, we're denying people the opportunity to take responsibility. Now, I'm not saying leave people out and let them starve in the cold. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying we need to reconnect to family, community, self-empowerment, take the decision. If we get burned, then learn from that decision and move on. And it's just a very interesting observation of government is growing, protests are growing for more government or for more banking regulations, free this, free that, free the other. And this is interesting as, you know, post-2012, as this energy is getting higher, and you see it, I'm sure your viewers see it, that things are more and more people are waking up. Things are happening faster and faster. More and more things are kicking off on the planet. But it's like, do you sit down and look within into that chaos and that restlessness? It's not easy, and work with that, or do we just project and complain and try and change the world?
It's a good point. Yeah, I don't know. I can't add anything intelligent to that. That's pretty good. I mean, I agree. I mean, I try to let other people have their say on the interviews and whatnot, but I've been piping in more and more on my own here and there. I do a live stream on Sundays and stuff, but I'm talking about what I think, and that I'm harping on people taking their power back, however they can. And a big part of that's responsibility, and I think that's one of the avoidance tactics. There is that everybody likes the idea of taking the power back, but when you start talking about the commensurate responsibility, then that's when it gets a little scary.
Yeah.
Like it gets a little scarier because, oh, you mean I can't go to the doctor and he can tell me which pill to take? No,
exactly.
You're sick now. What are you going to do about it? And if you're going to take your power back, that means you're not going to go to the doctor, right? Well,
or at least an informed decision that if you go to the doctor and he gives you the wrong medication, you have to accept responsibility for that. So this came to me today. Two things. There's no chaos without warrant. So any internal struggle is purposeful. It's not random. It's not by chance that we're having a bad day or something has gone wrong. But also, if you want to be the warrior, you have to go to war. And we're at a time where spiritually people are talk about being warriors, and they want to be or identify as warriors. And many of us are, because we have been through the wars. And that's part of my work now, is finding that and connecting with that warrior and that king energy. So, like a warrior loses limbs. He might lose a head. He might die many times. He has scars and bruises all over him. He's been beaten black and blue. He's lived horrible existences. Even if you don't want to believe in in one life, if you're going to be Conor McGregor or a boxer or a wrestler, you're going to have the shit kicked out of you again and again and again until you finally learn and strengthen and you have that response. So to be a spiritual warrior means that shadow, that light is going to be turned on your shadow. And I am experiencing that, and I have experienced that for the past year and a half. Sometimes very quickly. I've been in ceremony. I was in a ceremony Saturday before last. It was all love. It was fantastic. I came out of the ceremony thinking, this is going to be great. And Wednesday of last week, my life turned upside down, and only now, in hindsight, do I realize that it's like, to really understand the heart energy and love and power and warrior is to really be tested and to really look at your stuff. So I think you mentioned, the wheat from the chaff. This is what we're facing. We're facing the people who just want to buy the yoga mats and the nice candles and meditate. And that's all. I did it myself. We all go through that phase. And then there are people who burnt that out and they're still unhappy, or they're challenged and they want more. And those people have to go into the darkness, into the shadow, as Jung said, and look at that pain. And that's where the warrior is, to face it and to go through that stuff and realize really that this darkness is just a lesson. It's just a teaching. It's nothing more. I do believe in demons. I believe in reptilians and archons and all those things. But we are gods, and we are great beings. So it is about working our way back to that power.
Right.
Rather than what we've been told that, you just evolved from muck and you're up from eights, and you don't really mean anything. It's all by chance. So if we did, then be afraid, be very afraid. But if we are gods, and if we can see through time, if we can contact different dimensions or different ages, if we can see the future, well, then anything is possible. We have no reason to fear any of this.
Right. Right. Yeah. I've said, if we could really see each other how we really are, we'd be speechless.
I'm speechless.
Yeah, I don't know. I got that when I was a teenager, I think. I mean, I got the idea of it, not the words, but I got the idea of it when I was doing my LSD experiences and stuff, because I think I had a few opportunities to see that, and that was my response, was like there was no words for it. It was like, oh my gosh, that's what this is. Oh, it's beyond human comprehension. At least that was my experience.
I'd agree with that. I would agree with that. From what I've touched upon in my ceremonies, it's like I'm being drip fed or I'm being given glimpses, because the whole picture is just too much. And we've heard of people who have sudden Kundalini awakenings and die or end up in psychiatric wards. It's too much. The energy is too much. So. Yeah. And I was one of them. There are people who kind of we want it now. I want to be enlightened. I want to know everything, but it's like, no.
Yeah, yeah, I did that when I was young, and it took it to extremes and actually hurt myself. But I've been able to kind of, I captured the glimpses, and they never really left. They never really left me. I can revisit those glimpses from time to time, and it's been kind of a sustaining thing for me. Because if I ever get into a question of an area of uncertainty, that's what I can reflect on, and it's very reassuring. But more than anything, it's just exquisitely beautiful and humbling, and it's very precious, And if you ever have the opportunity to share that with somebody, then it even becomes more so. So off we go, us warriors.
Yeah. It's a remembering, and it's, I think two things that come to me a lot when I am doing healing work or green work or whatever it is that stillness, I feel, is very important. Just being still, just being present, being in the body, because a lot of us want to be in the clouds. We want to know what's going on. We want to get out of here. But we've chosen to come here, so there is information for us, and there is lessons here from being present and being in the body, and we will find our way. As I said earlier, that information will come to us. But another big part, I feel, is about being gentle. That, for me and for a lot of people who I mirror me, who I end up working with, it's about just saying it's okay. It's okay that we have so much pressure on ourselves to achieve, or be it successful out there or successful in here, and be enlightened or be at peace or be happy. It's okay that we're not. It's not, to hark back to the kind of 80s, 90s of the self-help books, these people, they were perfect. And these books, like appearing on Oprah, and they have incredible lives. And now we're in an age, I think might have talked to you about this before, that it's like, we're in an age where, real spiritual people, I don't want to curse on your channel, but they're struggling. They have addictions. They have trauma. They get angry in traffic. That's okay. That's human. And we're working through it. Yeah. So, there was a time where I kind of thought, you discover the spiritual people. I went to all the yoga class and meditation class, and then you meet someone who's really angry and think, Jesus, why is he in the yoga? He's not spiritual. And then I got through that and I realized, no, that's okay. That's us.
Yeah.
That's life. We're all carrying, varying degrees of that. Hopefully, as we work through it, it becomes less and less. So, a big part of what I feel moved to say to people I'm working with, and I remind myself, is to judge the heart and to think it's okay. It's the road home, the journey home. This is a homecoming. It's not an instant. It doesn't have to happen in this lifetime or in our 20s or 40s or 60s. It's the journey home. Mm-hmm. So take it easy and to go easy ourselves. And I think it's through that gentleness with ourselves, we can then begin to be gentle with other people.
Right. It's a good message for now with all the tumult and stuff, and especially in my circle with the disclosure community and everybody talking about extraterrestrials and the government, doing soft disclosure or full disclosure or whatever, and everybody's trying to chew each other's heads off, and this person's lying and this one's a pathological liar and everything. It's like that. What you're talking about is a great message because. In that regard, I feel a sense of urgency, but when that sense of urgency creates those kinds of scenarios, that what you just said is a great thing. It's okay, you don't need to solve all these problems right now, It's like the peace, bringing forth the peace is actually more productive in those circumstances.
I think
it'll help you find the way.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, I as I said earlier on, there is no one law or one rule or one way. So for the people who feel moved to get in those communities and bite people's heads off or try and force a message, that's okay too. That's their journey, and they will exhaust that journey. Yeah. And I've seen a lot of that because it's me. I was that guy. I still am. There's degrees of it I'll continue to work through.
Yeah, you're an anarchist.
Yeah. Well, anarchist, the best image of anarchy is a farmer's market.
Yeah.
It's just people trading peacefully without the man in the corner, wanting his pound of flesh.
I've never seen the guy with the Molotov cocktail. I haven't seen that one yet. But that right then when somebody says anarchist, that's the image that comes to everybody's head. Right?
I know.
Isn't it
interesting?
Face and the Molotov cocktail.
Isn't it interesting? Whenever there's riots in the streets and the TV channel says anarchist. Anarchists. That's not the true meaning of anarchist. Anarchy is peace. Anarchy is just it. Anarchy means no rulers. That's all it means. It doesn't mean no rules. It doesn't mean chaos. It doesn't mean violence or any of that kind of stuff. Right. I just wanted to say one more thing that I the way for years we've heard all there is love. Love heals everything. And you go through that, you think, okay, but I've got to pay my bills, and I've got to eat and all this stuff. I don't really care about, there comes a time. But, and then you get sick, and I've had my own ailments and aches and pains and things, and you think, okay, love, but I'm going to go to a doctor, or I'm going to do what I have to do. But I am really experiencing and feeling that it is love. It does heal everything, that it's a case of finding that gentleness and that peace, that vibration of physical pain or of emotional pain, depression, anxiety, whatever it is, and just knowing that that's a piece of me and it's okay. I love that piece of me, even though he's angry or, he's vibrating and he wants to shout and lash out. It's okay. That's who I am. That's a piece of me. And that does, it just softens everything. It's I think that's the next stage of where what we're beginning to see in this divide of those who just can't be still and can't look at it because it's too much, and those who are at a point where they're ready to actually be still and look at that pain, the pain within, and start to make peace with it. Right. And that's when I think that's going to be reflected in our world.
Yeah, that's beautiful. So, Gav, is there anything else that you'd like to say about where you're at, where you're going, what you'd like people to take away from this interview that we're doing?
Um, well, I was hesitant to speak about the Queen stuff. Part of the reason is I realized I'm not a salesman. I'm not looking to sell healing sessions and Queen sessions.
Yeah,
If
yeah.
you read the page, feel the resonance, go for it. But I'm not here. My aim was to discuss the reflection stuff, but I did think I got a lot of contacts regarding those articles, and a lot of people are trying to find their way with that. Or when you're in that pain, how do you look at it? How do you identify it? How do you love it? How do you? So my aim is to do more work on that, videos on that, and if there is an interest, perhaps I just thought of this in the last few minutes with you in future, that if there was questions or if there was people looking to had examples or needed more guidance, that I'd happily try and do some kind of show or some sort of work just to help to give people a greater picture.
Okay, well, I volunteer to help with that. I mean, if you want to do a follow-up or something like that along those lines, especially in response to comments that people might leave on this interview, I'd be happy to pick that up and we can do it. Sure,
yeah, I'd love to. Keep in mind, I'm exploring this myself, so I don't have it sorted. But as well, it is, what I like and what I'm trying to get across about all this is it's experiential. It's an experiment. We're all scientists. We're all explorers. So it's something to test. But it's just if people do feel moved and curious and interested, I'd be happy to try and see where we can go with it. Help people find some more peace or empowerment, or see what comes out of it. Yeah.
Yeah, that sounds good. Okay, well, if there's nothing else, then I really want to thank you for joining me. This interview has its genesis months ago, actually. So
that's right.
That's true. So Gav has been very patient. I've been very patient.
Thank you.
And it turns out the world's been very patient.
What was it? Was it 2016 or was it after Chris? Was it this year? I can't remember.
No. I think it was before. I think it was in December when I first got the message from you on YouTube.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it was then, and then we had a couple fits and starts and yeah. So I've been on standby, and you were taking care of some things, and so this turned out to be the right day. And a lot of symbology going on in my life right now that made this the right day, and it turns out it has a lot to do with the goddess energy.
Yeah. So that's actually, your experience did encourage me to go down that road.
Yeah.
But I do want to say thank you. I'm grateful for your patience, because I know it started so long ago and we finally got there. So thanks for.
Well, good things for those who wait.
True.
All right. Well, thanks, Gavin, and thanks for everybody for watching. Bye-bye.
Great. Thanks, Denny.